because in this business, as you both well know, the relationships are key because when you're ready to expand and scale, you've got to count on raising money and raising capital for your deals. And that's a relationship exercise. And so, and that's very easy for her. Very easy.
Jacqueline and Melvin Landry, and we welcome you to our podcast, Get Diversified. Throughout these series, we'll cover all the topics and questions you have about investing in apartment buildings, storage facilities, and mobile home parks. Being knowledgeable in these areas will help you feel more comfortable about investing. Apartment investing equals building wealth. Building wealth equals financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom allows you to spend your time with building memories with your loved ones. Let's face it, time is the one element in life that is limited, and you don't.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Get Diversified podcast. This is Melvin Landry. I'm here with Jacqueline Landry. We are kickstarting our Power Couple series. Hey, tonight we have with us Paul and Letitia Montelongo, who are some movers and shakers in the multifamily real estate as well as self-storage space as well. So, guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having
us.
Yeah, we're excited to be with you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one power couple to another. So, yeah, this is a great honor.
We're trying to emulate, that's for sure. So, but hey, guys, welcome to the show. Wanted to take a moment to speak to you all and allow you all to kind of share your stories, right, as couples. And, to kick things off, why don't you kind of give us a little history for the viewers in terms of your history in the real estate and how we got to kind of where you're at today.
Ladies first.
Okay, great. I love it when he treats me like a princess. Anyway, so Paul and I actually have a very unique story. We've only been married almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in July. And prior to that, I was in real estate, but not in the multifamily space. I was a realtor here in San Antonio. So when I met Paul, he had been doing real estate for several years. So it was like I was a sponge. I wanted to learn everything. So it was very exciting. So it's been really fun for us to kind of grow our company together. I feel like we complement each other. We have lots of fun together. And so far, I think we've been in 4 years. I think we might make it another 4 at least. What do you think?
It's a good chance. Yeah, we actually were, each of us were single for 13 years. We didn't know each other. We didn't know of each other. We just, and then later we found out that we actually got divorced in our first marriage in the same year. We were single for 13 years. And I don't think either one of us really had a plan to get remarried, like a real certain plan. But then we met. And so it has worked out real well on that side, on the marriage side. So
yeah, and then not too long ago, we found out that my daughter and his son, they actually went to the same middle school at the same time, and we didn't even know each other. It was so crazy. Yeah, so
we live
meant to be.
Yeah, we live in San Antonio, and San Antonio is like the 7th largest city in the country. Yet it has a small town feel. So I feel like I knew everybody because I'm from San Antonio, even though I'd moved away for about 10 years. And then when I moved back to Texas, I was living in Austin. We met, and then, then I moved back to San Antonio, and we got married in July of 2019.
Get it right.
Here we are. But I had been doing real estate. I've been doing real estate all my life, one form or the other. I've been doing single family flips and cash flows and renovations and those sorts of things. And then in 2015, I bought a marina in North Carolina. I bought a 115 boat slip marina, and it had 24 RV spaces, and I took those 24 RV spaces and I removed them, and I built 38 tiny homes and rented them out on Airbnb. So it was 115 plus 38, 153 units. Now that's not multifamily, but in my mind, I reasoned there were 153 checks. So like I reasoned that what I was looking for was multiple streams of revenue off of one property, like apartments, like multifamily. But my first transaction was that marina acquisition there in North Carolina.
And Paul, what gave you that inspiration to do something like that that's so different?
So, like I said, I had been in real estate in flips, and I was actually funding flips for a group in Phoenix and then another group in Orange County. So we were doing that, and I was living in Las Vegas, and somebody just asked me, they said, "Do you want to buy a marina?" And I said, "No," because I didn't have the first clue. I'd never owned a boat. In fact, I've still never owned a boat. I didn't know the first thing about marinas, but when they showed me the business plan and they showed me the financials, so, I have a good history of business ownership and building businesses, and I understand financials. I understand what it's like to build a business, and it made sense. So then, one thing led to another, and the next day one day I woke up and I had 115 boats. So, I understand. And there was a big component of renovation to this property. It was 13 acres, 14 acres. There was a big renovation component, which I have a very strong construction renovation background. So, things like that, they just added up. And again, but the big impetus was it was a business, and it was a multi-income business. So there were boat slips, there were Airbnbs, there was a membership property. So we sold memberships to be on the property. It was a venue for events, an events venue. So it had, at one time, we were drawing 13 different streams of revenue out of the property. And that's the part that made sense to me. And so, fortunately, I had some good mentors at the time, some good business partners, and then they introduced to me the world of multifamily and apartments. And they were like, this is the way we bought this marina this is an exception. What we really do is we buy apartments, and this is how we buy apartments. And so they trained me to do that. And one of them I've had 2 partnerships with. The other one I've had, I think now 6 partnerships with. We've been in 6 deals together. In fact,
and you still own that marina?
No, I sold my portion out in 2018 when I decided to move back to Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the story of that, of how, and then, I was just buying a property at a time, just a little bit here and there. And then when we met, you can tell them how you picked up on the multifamily, but I was doing the multifamily, and then she picked up on it.
Yeah. So it was like during COVID, unfortunately, we were all stuck here. Paul and I got married in July of 2019, and then March of 2020, COVID came around. So being a newlywed couple, we got to know each other really well, really fast, being around each other all day long, stuck in the house. But Paul has always been really into really educating people and helping people and teaching. So he was mentoring a group of guys online. Every Tuesday at 9:00, he would come up to his office, and he'd stay up here for an hour just teaching people how to do multifamily and how to do underwriting and everything that had to go with that. And so I said, "Hey, do you mind if I go log in and listen?" So I started listening, and within a few weeks, I learned how to do underwriting, right? So I started looking at LoopNet and other places here in San Antonio for a property, and one came up online on a Friday, and I went there Friday. I told Paul, "Let's go see this property. It's great. It's 64 units. I think it's going to pencil." So we went over there, and sure enough, we submitted an LOI, and by Monday we had it under contract. And that was my first experience with multifamily, right? I was very excited because I was the one who found it, and it was a very unique property. It was a newer build. It was like a 2017. And it was in the part of town where it was kind of a sketchy part of town, but it was just on the border of being a nice part of town, right? So we were able to get in there and kind of re-tenant the apartments. And then within a matter of about 18 months, 18 months, we sold it, and we profited like $2.5 million in that 18-month period. And that was it. I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is a great thing. We can do this together. I can learn so much more from him. And then we really just started going out and getting more properties. So it's been really fun for me. It's been a really nice addition to my commercial real estate career right now. Right now, I'm able to kind of still do that and then work with Paul as we build our company. So I love it, and it's been great. And we joined a mastermind that you guys are part of, which we love. And that has really, really helped me with my confidence in the space, because, I felt like at first I kind of dabbled in it, but now we've got some really good apartments that we're now general partners on. And I've really started working with the women in multifamily space. So I'm in a couple of different groups. I'm heading one up here in San Antonio. I'm starting to get asked to speak on different podcasts and at different meetups. So it's been really, really great for me. My background prior to this, before real estate, was I worked in higher education finance for many years in corporate America. And that's what I did. I traveled around Monday through Friday. I mentored a lot of people that worked under me, a lot of salespeople. So I was very, I loved it. It was like Monday through Friday, the grind, get up at 5:30, help people, call people, get deals closed. So, and then I kind of was out for a while. So this is really kind of a reintroduction back into that fast pace, but I love it because I love to make money and I love to help other people make money. And that's one thing I think I really liked about when I worked at Sallie Mae is like all of my sales teams, they all made tons of money because we really, really made our goals every quarter. So this is kind of nice to be part of a GP team and really help partners make money and help our investors make money and really set up a future. So it's been fun for me.
Absolutely. So I have a question for you too. So it's always nice for me to, ask this question to other couples that are successful. So what are your roles, specific roles? Because without roles, you will actually, bump heads. So Melvin and I, being fairly new in this space, we're trying to figure out each other's role. So how did you guys determine the roles that you were going to play on these particular assets?
Well, I have big hair. I'm covering up all the bumps from bumping heads with Paul. So I don't know if we figured it out yet, but we're working at it.
Actually, that was going to be my comment. I don't know that we've 100% figured it out.
Okay. Okay. So we're okay.
No, I think
give yourself some grace because. So here's my comment and here's my excuse. You ready? Mm-hmm. So our birth dates are 7 days apart, and we're both Taurus. So born in May. So we're strong and stubborn and bullheaded and driven and all those things that if you pay attention to that stuff. So forget the Taurus part. We're fairly headstrong people. So and we're not young, we're not babies, so we have a way that we have done life, and now we come together and we do life and business together. So, and I have a way that I do it, and she has a way she does it. So it's just, sometimes it seems seamless. Sometimes it's like it's clicking, and other times it's, we have to work through it. But I think the real answer to your question is, and I'll answer it from my perspective, and that is I had to get real clear on what I'm best at. So, because I think I know I'm good at a few certain things, and I'm really good at them. So, and that's been my career. And I've put together companies and built teams and built people and done deals and big deals, not just in this space, but other spaces. And so that's my specialty. And if I can stay there and stay away from the other parts that aren't my specialty, okay. And we have great people around us, by the way, that then that's part of the equation, right? And then how would you say what your specialty is?
I feel like, when we first started, because Paul had more experience than me, he takes the lead on a lot of stuff, which is great, right? Because it takes the pressure off of me. And he is actually a really good mentor to me, which is kind of weird at the same time. I do draw the line. It's like, okay, you're not being my mentor in life, but just this part, right? So it's kind of fun. But yes, but I really have a background in marketing, and I am really a relationship person, right? So I feel like investor relations is what I'm really going to be good at. I've learned a lot this last year. I've joined Raise Master, so I'm kind of working on raising and building our investor database. But it's kind of a weird thing. I'm really great at talking to people, explaining things. What I'm really not great at is the other part of investor relations, which is all of the graphic design. So we are actually working on people to help us with that. I don't want to get caught up in that. It would take me the rest of my life to figure out how to put together an offering memorandum. with all the graphics. So we kind of let other people do that stuff. But I feel like that's what I'm really good at, going out and finding deals as well too. So I can find deals and then I can let other people underwrite them. And Paul is really good at putting the whole thing together, really, working with the teams, working with the attorneys, working with the lenders, all those types of things. So we kind of have a really good, we work together on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll add to her comment about being relational. And that's been a help to me, because in this business, as you both well know, the relationships are key, because when you're ready to expand and scale, you've got to count on raising money and raising capital for your deals. And that's a relationship exercise. And so, and that's very easy for her, very easy. And for me, it's not as easy, believe it or not. It's not as easy, but with her encouragement, I've been brought along. And then I think simultaneously, like the way I deal with a business and in a direct manner and such, I think that's probably been an influence with her as well. So
yeah.
Well,
that's awesome,
because it's not.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that's really awesome. Like when I think about, some of Melvin's strengths, right? He's really good at talking to anybody and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of his key strengths. I am too, but on a little bit of a different level. So I think he helps me up my game when it comes to like closing the transaction. He's just really good at that. It's in his nature. And I'm good at putting a plan together and executing, but he's bigger picture. So we're still trying to figure out some of the other stuff. So I guess we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
As long as maybe we don't always figure it out. But one of the things that I have a question for you all about is sometimes I find myself talking about real estate 24/7. And our son says, Mommy and Daddy, stop talking about syndication and stop talking about real estate and let's go surfing in Hawaii, right? We were just in Hawaii last week. So how do you guys separate the business from the personal? How do you turn it off? Or do you not turn it off? Or is it just
so hard? He turns it off. But here's what it is. This is so interesting. So I get up really early. I get up at 5:30. I go make coffee, do my morning meditation. I read a couple of real estate emails that come to me, publications. Paul's rolling in around 7, right? My brain's been going for like 2 hours. He wants to have coffee, and I want to talk. I want to tell him about what I just read about from Marcus and Millichap, right? I want to talk to him about storage. I want to talk to him about that, and he looks at me like, "Don't talk to me right now." So it's
give
really
me my
funny.
Coffee first, please.
I can't do this, and I'm just like, but I'm so excited about what we're doing. It's just like, oh my gosh, I just read this. Oh my gosh, I just found this deal. Oh my gosh, and he's just like. But then I go to bed a little bit earlier at night and he's still kind of going. So yeah, it's hard to turn it off when you're so happy about what you're doing.
Just like
that's a really good point.
Though.
It's difficult, and we have to make a concerted effort to park it over there and then talk about us and our family and us being together and the reasons that we got together in the first place.
Right.
Because we were both single and both enjoying our life, you see. And then we came together because we wanted to enjoy life together. And so we really have to make a concerted effort to park the business side over there and bring it back whenever, and I think we're getting better at that. We're getting better at knowing when to dig in deep on it and then when to set it aside. It's again, it's an ongoing process, but like we really do try. Like if we go on a date, we really do try just not to do business, or sometimes we'll say, okay, let's go on a date because we have to talk about a few things, right? So like if we set it up in advance, that's helpful. Doesn't always work 100%, but it's helpful if we set it up in advance. And like she just mentioned, in the mornings, I like to ease into the day, and then but I'm a night owl, so so we had to figure that out.
But you know what's so funny is that We still love it though. I mean, at least I just love it. I love talking about it all the time. But then the last year, we've made so many more friends that do what we do.
Oh yeah.
So now even when we go out to have fun, all we do is talk about it too. So it's really fun. It's like, great, let's go do this for the weekend with this couple. And then the whole time we're like, but yeah.
Awesome. So,
I mean,
so do you
You gotta love what
actually,
you do,
Yeah,
right?
if you're passionate about it, if you're that's the one thing that I think that, well, if I can speak for my part of life. I've never done. I take that back. A number of years ago, I learned not to do things that I wasn't passionate about. If I didn't love what I was doing, do something else. So I learned that a while back, and so because I love what I'm doing, it does overtake the conversation sometimes. But we try to. I don't want it to sound cliche, but if we can keep in the forefront of our mind that our relationship and our marriage is first, and then whatever it takes to support our relationship, great. If a real estate conversation is supporting the relationship, great. But sometimes it doesn't, right? So we just have to kind of keep that clear in our head. Yeah.
so do you plan out your date night on Jesse Itzler's yearly calendar?
No.
We wanted to. We thought about it. We did it the first week, and then it is in my office. We are actually going to South Padre Island on Friday for a week to just
Goof off
and hang out. And we're taking it with us because we want to finish it.
Okay.
But I think we're pretty good about making time for ourselves. And we have some big events, but we don't have like everything in there. And I would like to have everything in them because I like having to look forward to something every week. I love that. But
Yeah, we completed it, and we try to stick by it. The date nights don't always work. We end up moving it around a little bit, but we do have our major vacations on there. We still gotta try to book Europe, but we, with you guys too, we realize that we need to put our relationship first, and always make that forefront. And we have a 8-year-old, which I think you guys have grandkids that are 8, right, Letitia?
Yes, we have
we have
James.
grandkids everywhere.
It's 7. They're
That's
not
why you
everywhere.
need to keep investing in apartment buildings.
There you go.
No, no kidding.
Yeah, we have 7. We just have we have a new one that was born on
Valentine's Day.
Day.
Congratulations.
And we were down in Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome. So what's next for you all?
well, so you mentioned it. First of all, we're buying more apartments because of the relationships that we've been able to establish, and because all across the board, lenders, investors, people that can help us actually get things done. We're able to scale. So we're like tomorrow or Friday, we have a meeting. We're evaluating 9 new deals. Okay, so will we get 1 or 2? Let's hope. But the other thing that's really exciting to us is we found a piece of raw land, and we're building a self-storage on that. Yeah. Now I have, as I mentioned to you, I have a very strong construction background. I did that for years, and I love new ground-up construction. This piece of land was presented to us with the intent to build apartment complexes on it, but we actually hired a feasibility study company to perform a feasibility study, and they came up with storage, and it made so much sense. So the current plan is 458 units of climate and non-climate with a convenience store up on the front 2 acres. So the convenience store, we've already made a deal for the convenience store. It'll be anchored by Valero Gas Company, Valero Oil Company. Mm-hmm. So we're super excited about that because all the cards are falling in the right place, and we see it as very duplicatable. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Reproducible. We see it as something that we can do over and over and over again. And it's new product, brand new product. So we have 100% control over the outcome of the product. It's not like we're buying an apartment complex where we have to go in and deal with somebody else's design and so forth. So we're super excited about that. We feel like that's going to be something that we will do more and more of, along with multifamily. Again, my main driver is multiple checks. So multiple streams of revenue. So if you have 458 458 doors, 458 units, you have 458 checks a month. So that's the driving force behind all that. We're pretty excited about that from a business perspective. Yeah.
So do you all diversify into funds? Do you guys have your own debt fund or equity fund set up? Do you see any of that in your future?
We do.
We do. We feel like, in fact, I was listening to an educational podcast today about that, trying to learn some of the mechanics. As you know, there are two ways to do the multifamily business: is transactional, okay, and then deal by deal. You go raise deal by deal, and then the other way that's seeming to make more sense is a fund, so that the money is there to deploy when the deal presents itself instead of the other way around. So we do see that in our future. Like logistically, will it happen this year? Probably not. Could it happen in 2024? That seems more likely.
Awesome.
And, I think with the number of people that we know and have relationships with, we should be able to pull that off when the time is right. Yeah.
Are you guys working on a fund?
No, we're not. We are getting educated on it, even though it's earlier in the game for us to know what's out there and what the benefits are. And I think once we have, five, 6 deals under our belt, or 5 or 6 deals to go full cycle, once we learn the landscape better, I think it may make more sense. But, we'll, reassess that, periodically to see if that's a road we want to go down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Seems to make sense. Again, I would only do it if it really made sense. If it helped buy more doors, like if it took down some hurdles, that would make sense.
Okay, so honey, so we need to talk to them about the piece of land you have for sale here.
Yeah,
we need to have a sidebar conversation about that.
I got an acre sitting up on a hill that was debating what I should do with it, and it's in a residential area, so but again, maybe that feasibility study there, Paul, is something that should kind of trump that right now to see some pros and cons associated with it. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it made sense, and we've hired what we think are the best people in the state to do the architecture, to do the feasibility, to do the build itself. Mm-hmm. Like we did our research on finding who does these kinds of projects. Now I know there are a lot of people in the space, but we're not in it, so we had to do our homework, and we think we've got like the best of the best. And the reason we wanted that is because, we'd like to keep it, but let's face it, if some national chain came along and offered us insane money for it, it would make sense. Right. So we're going to design it so that it would accomplish that. And then when we got the deal for the anchor tenant, that was that's huge. Right. So that's huge. So
and they're great. He's built like 30 of these gas stations in San Antonio, right?
Convenience store.
They're nice little convenience stores. They're very, very nicely done. They have a couple little sandwich shops in them. So yeah, it's exciting.
I would add this too. And in the beginning, she said, I liked to mentor and coach and so forth. And I have, and that's how this really started. During the scamdemic, I was doing every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, gratis. I had a group of 25 people, 25, 30 people, and just come in and learn. And my commitment to them was I'll be here every morning every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and I will stay on the call as long as you want. Wow. And I did, and I did it for the love of it. I think it also kept me sharp,
Mm-hmm.
And so, and out of that, gratefully, we've had numerous requests. When I say numerous, I mean insanely numerous requests for more mentoring, more coaching, more leadership, more. And so we're thinking about that also. And the first order of business is more properties. That's the focus.
Yeah.
But if some of these other things can supplement that or support that, we'd take a look at that as well.
So it appears, Paul, you have an education niche here as well, man, with the mentorship segment that seems starting to take off for you, potentially from an opportunistic standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
That's great. So, because I have you all on the phone, what's the one piece of advice, and you both can take a turn, that you would give Melvin and I as a couple being fairly new in the multifamily space? Besides love each other. You can't say that because we already love each other. But what's the next piece of advice you would give us? Letitia, you first.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and I know that he loves you because I see all your stuff online, and it shows through you.
He has the twinkle in his eye.
Y'all are quite the couple.
That diamond right there, man. There you go.
Really are. But I think, being a woman in the space that works with her husband, I think it's really, really important to make sure when she's going through this to just really listen to what she has to say about some things, because I know sometimes we get really busy, right? And sometimes you just want to be heard, even if, because I haven't been doing this as long as Paul, and I'm not the expert like he is. And he is a great listener, but sometimes I just kind of feel like I need someone to listen to me because I don't really know if I'm doing this right, or I don't really know if I'm supposed to be doing this right, because you have that internal doubting sometimes, right? So I just think just encouraging her, because, when you walk into a room, there are 90 men in the room and there are 6 or 7 women. So I just think encouraging her in that, I think, would be the best thing.
Okay.
So was your advice to him?
Was it to you? Was it supposed to be to you? Oh, no, it was to him. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. It's good advice to him. I appreciate that.
No, I would just think, no, because that's what you can do, right? Because, she's going to only make you look good all the time, right? So just encourage
I'm just
her.
asking.
Yeah. So I would just say encourage her, because I think it's just a little harder for women in this space sometimes, because, our voices aren't as loud. They're just not as loud. So I think just encouraging her would be great.
And I think one of the most challenging points is in November, I went to my first family office club summit. There was 1,000 people in there, and probably less than 5% women that were worth 25 million, mostly 50 million and above. So that was really challenging. And I kind of had to get my mind right and say, hey, look, what am I here to do? And it's number one is to build relationships. And while I may not have 500 deals that I've done in the past, I'm here to build relationships. And when I get to that number that makes you comfortable, where you can trust Melvin and I, then maybe you'll be an investor for us. So that's how I introduce myself, is I'm here to meet fine folks like you all. And I just try to hold my ground and tell you what I know. And I'm not shy to ask questions, but it is intimidating. And I tell him that, and he's really supportive on that piece.
I would, when I give this advice I also give this advice to me. and that is just stay united, right? Just like in purpose. And even though you may not agree on the specific issue, what's the end goal here? What's the end game? And how can you work to that end game? I think we do that fairly well. But stay united, because first of all, it keeps peace and harmony and love in your relationship, right? It's the right thing to do. It is the only thing to do, the right thing to do. And then the additional benefit is that, when you present yourself, when we present ourselves as a couple, we don't want to, if there's disharmony here, there's disharmony in our entire life, including our business. So we don't want that to be the case. So, it starts from here and goes out. And people pick up on it. People sense it. People detect it. And we're in a business that's extremely relationship oriented, trust oriented. And so if we maintain that relationship and that trust here, then it projects out and it goes out. And so I would say, keep things sacred between the two of you, and then it will carry out.
Fantastic advice.
Yeah, fantastic advice.
I'm sorry, honey. I kind of took over.
No, you're fine. I
kind of took over it. The question, I didn't have anything written down. What final question do you have? I have for these fine folks.
Hey,
what's that? What'd you ask?
I see you all out there on social. You guys are really, really forwarding up your trajectory. Any bumps in the road, challenges you guys are experiencing?
Yeah,
Anything?
realistic again, because we have a history of being individuals. Okay, and by the way, that
Individuals. And that's over. We've grown together.
every year
We're
that's
just one
that's
person.
slowly going
Two
away.
heads. We're one person with two heads.
I forgot what the hell I was going to
Don't
say.
make him turn red, all right?
But I'm sure I had an extremely salient point I was going to make that I forgot.
All good.
But
But I mean, there's always going to be bumps in the road, right? It's how
of
you
course, there's
handle
going to
them
be bumps.
together and
Right.
how you figure your way out of them and staying
We
united,
did.
right? And moving forward, right? So I think we're pretty good at that when it comes to.
I'll tell you what else we do. We do fairly often. It's like when we get crazy, we stop and we're like, okay, let's just take a little inventory of what we've accomplished in 3.5 years. Because, I mean, I typically don't do that. I typically am forward thinking. I'm like, okay, what happened yesterday, it doesn't matter how bad or good it was. I'm on to what's going to happen to me. So I don't really pause, right? And she's been pretty good at going, all right, let's just really pay attention to what's going on here. The first year of our marriage, we sat in a room and was on lockdown, with the world going crazy. Okay. And I bucked it every which way that I could. Right. So, I mean, we do take inventory of not just what we've accomplished in the business perspective, but in the short time that we've been married, because we only dated 10 months. We knew a date number 3 or 4 that we were going to marry each other. I mean, it was that quick, right? We just knew. All right.
Because I took inventory. I said, look at this amazing woman right in front of you.
No, because she set a goal.
We met in a nightclub in Vegas, so maybe not the first night that he knew he wanted to marry me, but maybe a few nights after that.
Yeah, I knew she was the
Which
one.
So we take inventory. We do. We're like, okay, this is what we've accomplished from a business perspective. This is what we've accomplished as a family. When we got together, we had only how many grandkids? I don't know. We've added 3 grandkids, right? We've added 3 grandkids since we've been married. Okay. So, the family legacy, all of these things are, they're growing. And so if we can just stop for a minute, and when we take inventory and we're thankful for those things, it seems to recalibrate us. It seems to like, okay, the stupid numbers that we're over here arguing about really don't matter. Let's talk about what's important, so.
And Paul, your wife's really good at that. I love her inspirational posts on Facebook, and she's always, she's talking about the mindset and treating yourself well and other things that are just critical to being a successful businesswoman or a successful couple. So I love reading your posts. Keep them coming. I try to reply all the time, but not always enough time.
How much time?
Go ahead.
Was that helpful? I hope it was.
Yeah,
it was very fantastic. Thank you.
Very helpful, guys. And,
I'm so excited for you guys. I really am. I love watching your podcast that you had, and
appreciate
I watch and I like the fact that y'all are so consistent about your social media. Y'all are out there. That's
consistency is key. So, we're kind of crafting a little, this power couple series. You guys are kickstarting our series, believe it or not. We got a nice lineup coming, and we like to start with the best. So we got you guys lined up. So it's a tall order for others following behind you guys to emulate here. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's very nice.
We'll see you all at the next MMM event in Santa Monica. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. We'll both be there. So we're excited about that. And thanks again for having us.
You're welcome. The other thing too, I'd say is like, even though we're doing a lot of things together, we're doing some things apart that support the together. Like she's speaking at women's groups. I'm now back out speaking on other stages. And so we're like, I don't want to say we're multiplying our efforts, right? To the big goal.
To the big goal.
Right.
Dividing and
conquering
at the same time. Right. So
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's one of the things we're doing too, Paul. So, I'm trying to get connected with a lot of the commercial real estate of women here in Pittsburgh to get to
Sure.
know the folks here and the investors here in Pittsburgh, because there's money here, even though maybe the investments may or may not make sense. So I've joined a few organizations here. Melvin kind of comes along, but he's the face of Raise Masters. I'm kind of the face of the Family Office Club,
Yep.
and then we both try to do MMM when we
Perfect.
can. So we're doing that as well. So, honey, I think we're doing all the right things because these
Yeah.
couples says that it's some things that we should do, and I think we're doing that. So I think we're on the right path for sure.
All right.
Good deal.
Well, we can't
Great.
wait to see you guys in Santa Monica.
Yeah, thank you so much. Kisses to you all.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Mhm.